Welcome to our English language lesson for grades 10 through 12. Today we will be focusing on human rights and human values. Remember, human rights start with you. By the end of this video, you will be able to define human rights, identify human rights violations, and deduce the link between human rights and human values. You will also infer the relation between human rights and democracy and answer related questions. First, think of a time when you felt treated fairly, and a time when you felt treated unfairly. What was the difference? Also, consider what happens to people who are treated unfairly for a long time. When people are treated unfairly for a long time, they often feel anxious, hopeless, and lose trust in others. This treatment can also lead to rebellion. Let's compare two towns. Case A. In a small town, the local government built a public library, a free health clinic, and a community center. All children attend school. People feel safe walking at night. The town has low crime and high trust among neighbors. Case B. In another town, the government cut funding for schools and healthcare. Police ignore reports of abuse. Many families live in overcrowded housing. People are afraid to speak openly. Crime and depression are high. Case A describes a town with resources, safety, and community trust. Case B describes a town with resource cuts, crime, and fear. Consider the specific differences between the towns and what this comparison reveals about human rights. Comparing the two towns shows us that respecting human rights leads to safer, healthier, and happier communities. Violating them, however, leads to fear, illness, and poverty. Let's examine the quote. Human rights are not a privilege granted by the powerful. They are the birthright of every person. According to this, are human rights a gift or something everyone is born with? The quote clearly states human rights are the birthright of every person, not a privilege granted by those in power. Which town treated human rights as a privilege versus a birthright, and what was the result? Case B treated rights as a privilege by denying them to citizens, resulting in oppression, increased crime, and depression rates. Based on our discussion, human rights are basic freedoms and protections that belong to every person. They are not earned or given. They exist simply because you are human. Examples include the right to life, liberty, education, and freedom from violence. Reviewing the rights we listed, which ones were missing in Case B? Case B was missing the rights to education, healthcare, safety, and freedom of speech. Now let's explore the benefits of safeguarding human rights. What are some of the social, mental, physical, and economic advantages of protecting these rights? The benefits are extensive. Socially, we see greater trust and less conflict. Mentally, there are lower rates of anxiety and higher self-esteem. Physically, it means better healthcare access and longer life expectancy. Economically, it leads to higher productivity, more innovation, and reduced government spending on crisis care. What is a human rights violation? It occurs when state or non-state actors abuse, ignore, or deny basic human rights. These violations include crimes against humanity such as genocide, torture, slavery, and rape. Major violations include failure to prevent starvation, political oppression, discrimination, and arbitrary imprisonment. Finally, consider the disadvantages of violating human rights. What are some of the social, mental, physical, and economic drawbacks of these violations? Violating human rights has severe disadvantages. Socially, it causes widespread distrust and violence. Mentally, it leads to trauma and increased suicide rates. Physically, it results in malnutrition and premature death. Economically, it causes loss of productivity and massive government spending on support and police. Now let's look at human values. These are the moral principles that guide how we treat each other. Examples include respect, honesty, compassion, fairness, and responsibility. Think of someone you admire and the values they embody. Human values shape our interactions. When family members are honest, they feel valued. In schools, compassion and fairness reduce bullying. When leaders show responsibility, citizens trust the government. Consider the quote, "Values are the invisible architecture of a just society." What are the social, mental, and economic advantages of upholding human values? The benefits of human values are clear. Socially, they foster cooperation and strong friendships. Mentally, they bring inner peace and a sense of purpose. Economically, they lead to honest business, fair wages, and sustainable growth. Conversely, what happens when human values are lost? When values fall, so does everything built upon them. What are the social, mental, and economic disadvantages of this loss? A loss of human values results in social consequences like cheating, crime, and social collapse. Mentally, it leads to anxiety, chronic guilt, and depression. Economically, it results in fraud, theft, corruption, and economic instability. Let's explore the relationship between rights and values. Rights without values become selfish demands. Values without rights become oppression. According to this quote, rights and values must work together. Rights without values lead to selfish demands, and values without rights lead to oppression. Both are necessary. Can you have human rights without values like respect and fairness? Can you have values without laws protecting rights? Rights and values are interdependent. For our application exercises, first, give some examples of human rights violations. These include starvation, segregation, political oppression, arbitrary imprisonment, and discrimination in recruitment. Next, consider the purpose of this video. Its purpose is to inform the audience about human rights violations, the link between rights and values, and ways to protect human rights. Finally, what audience might be interested in this video? Activists, UN ambassadors, and politicians are interested. Activists and ambassadors defend human rights, while politicians set laws to protect them. Our major takeaways are that human rights apply to every single person simply because they are human. Despite efforts, human rights are still violated globally. Also, democracy includes human rights as its core foundation. Thank you for watching this video. Here are the references and links used for this material, should you wish to explore the topic further.